What is up? Taking a bit of a walk today because recently the weather's been pretty horrible. It's been raining like every day, so I haven't been able to do any car stuff really, and there just hasn't been much to do to the Kei-Wagon itself. So today, kind of just taking a stroll, and there's one thing that I realized actually while I had the time to stay indoors, and that is one video that I posted on my main YouTube channel, but realized that it should actually be posted on this channel. But I just never thought of actually moving that video over to this channel. So I thought this video, I would do that. And if you're following me on the main YouTube channel, then you'll probably maybe be able to guess what video it is that I'm talking about. And it is the trip to Gunma Prefecture that I took last year. I think it was like 6 months ago or something. I don't remember how long ago it was. It was definitely last year though. But I thought I would recreate that video and post it on this YouTube channel. So let's take a trip back to memory lane and go all the way back to Gunma Prefecture, to when I drove all the way to Mount Haruna, aka Mount Akina. I guess you guys will know it better as that. So let's go. Oh, we made it. Do you guys recognize this place? For those of you that are fans of Initial D, you'll probably recognize this location right here. For those of you that have not watched Initial D or have no idea what I'm talking about, then this video is completely irrelevant to you. But those of you that know where we are right now, this is probably the most famous driving road possibly in the entire country. And I believe, there's a chance we could be at the wrong spot, but I'm pretty sure this is it. So this is where Initial D took place, and I believe this is the start line where the Hachiroku raced against Red Suns and some of the other ones. It's been a long time since I watched this, I don't remember, but I believe this was it right here. So we're in Gunma Prefecture on Mount Haruna, Mount Akina. I guess most of you know it better as that. But we made it. Here we are. This is so cool. Even though there's like no signboards or anything here, so only people that actually know will know why this place is so famous. But I made it. Pretty awesome. Check that out. That was great. This thing actually made it all the way to Gunma and back, and all the way up Mount Akina / Mount Haruna, whatever you like to call it. It did actually overheat once, so we actually had to pull over because it was completely uphill. If you live in Gunma Prefecture, yeah, do not own a K car because it's literally like living in San Francisco. You'll have to pull over a lot because your engine's gonna overheat. Tiny little K car, but she made it all the way there and back. Super fun trip. This thing has made it to numerous places. We've driven all the way to Nagano. I believe I drove all the way to Nagano in this thing. I never took a video of that though. Like no driving videos. I believe on my main YouTube channel I do have 2 videos, I think it is, of my trip to Nagano, but nothing car related in that video. So and I think we also drove to Chiba. Yes, we did actually. We drove all the way to Chiba, which is like a 5-6 hour drive from here. Last year, Tokyo Auto Salon. So yeah, this thing has gone to some pretty crazy places actually. K-car, not suitable for long distance whatsoever, any slight of hills. But we did those things. She made it back in one piece. And honestly, it's been fun. It's been fun. But plan or my mindset, unfortunately, but fortunately, is kind of drifting away from this thing. And maybe one day might be time to say goodbye. But let's keep going for a walk, because I got something that I got to tell you guys. Guess I'll tell you guys the actual reason to why I posted this video. And this is for those of you that watch my videos all the way up to the very end, because I know most of you, probably like at least 90% of you, do not do that. So for those of you that do watch the videos until the very end, here is the actual reason to why I posted this video. So in the last video, I told you guys that there was a bit of, I guess, sudden news that I had where I was planning on selling the Kei-Wagon. And yeah, I was not kidding about that. And the more time goes by, the more I kind of have a feeling that I do want to potentially sell it either at the end of this year or at some point next year and get a car that I've been wanting for quite a long time. So I thought this would be kind of a funny video to post for you guys, and kind of put some random stuff at the beginning of the video. But don't get me wrong, I did want to post that Gunma road trip video onto this channel, but I thought it'd be kind of funny to tell you guys at the end of this video what car it is that I plan on getting. I briefly explained a little bit about what car it was that I wanted to get. The first thing that I will tell you guys, and I told you guys this immediately in the last video as well, and that is that I will be buying the car. If I do decide to buy this car, it definitely will be an automatic. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. If you have no idea why I'm buying it in automatic, then you definitely want to watch some of the previous videos that I posted, because I definitely explained in depth as to why I'm choosing to buy this car in automatic and why this is the one sports car. And yes, it is a sports car. This is the one sports car that I'm actually willing to buy in automatic. I also mentioned that this car technically was only sold in Japan. So the car that I'm actually getting, all right, I think a lot of you are gonna laugh at me for this. You're either gonna laugh at me or you're gonna think that this is a stupid idea. This is not a good car to buy. It's not an old Japanese sports car. I told you guys that. It's not a car from like the 80s or 90s. It's nothing like that. It's something like that for someone like me. It's impossible for me to get something like that just because of the way the market's going now. And I've never owned like an old Japanese sports car, so I feel like buying one now is kind of a little too difficult and probably not worth it as well. So I'm gonna be buying something a little more modern. And what car it is, you ask? It's an 8.6. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm serious. Now, before you guys start commenting that I'm really stupid, and saying that, oh, that car wasn't only sold in Japan, that car was sold everywhere. Australia had its own versions, North America had the FRS. Yes, that is true, but I did tell you guys that there's one specific model of this car that I'm trying to get, and I'm like 95% sure that this was only sold in Japan. So I told myself a long time ago when I first moved to Japan, or even before that actually, I told myself that when I live in Japan, any car that I ever own, which is true so far, any car that I ever own, I wanted it to be a car that was only ever sold in Japan. I owned a Honda S660. I'm pretty sure those were never sold anywhere else. And we have the Kei-Wagon now. It's a K car, obviously, so that was never sold anywhere outside of Asia, I guess. But like other countries, I think had the the Wagon R, but it was kind of different though. Like the body shape, and I think the engine was different as well. So technically, the two cars that I owned, both were never sold outside of Japan. So if I was going to get a sports car, a couple of conditions, I guess, that I had to make for myself, or like compromise or whatever you call it. First one being is I couldn't let myself buy an old Japanese sports car because of the reasons I told you guys earlier. It's just not really possible for me to get one, and I just lack the experience of how to find one of those. And you know, they're all being imported and exported into the US and Canada and wherever else. So I told myself that it's gonna have to be something a little more modern, something a little easier to get. So then I decided, okay, what's something that didn't exist outside of Japan, but is more of a modern sports car that I'd be willing to get? There was basically like only one option, and that was the 86. But then you guys know that the 86 existed everywhere around the world. But there was one version of that car that I completely forgot about for quite a while, and I came to the realization that this is actually one car that I'd be really interested in getting my hands on, and that is the limited yellow 86, the Hachiroku, the Sunrise Yellow, I believe it was called. I think it was called the Sunrise Yellow, with all the Australian factory options on it with the nurse spec, and I don't know what the lip was called, and the side skirts and everything. I'll show you guys a photo here if I can find one. Then I told myself, you know what? Let's go after that car. So now you guys know what car it is I want. A lot of you might think it's a bad idea. Some of you might think it's a cool idea. I think a majority of you would probably say that it's probably a stupid idea for me to try and get one of those. But I think that would actually be a pretty cool car to own. So you don't really see too many other YouTubers, or at all, I think, of people that actually have that car. You know, it'll usually be like the base model, like FRS or BRZ or whatever. But the limited yellow, because it was, I believe, only sold in Japan, I think it'd be really cool to try and get one of those. But like I mentioned, I will be buying it on automatic if I really do decide to get one of those. That's my main priority. If I can't get one of those, or if it's like too hard to find one, or if the prices are just completely out of range or something, then I will opt for a more of a base model in possibly black color, I guess, because it'll be a lot easier to find. But main priority, we're gonna get that yellow 86. We're gonna make it happen. But yeah, it will probably take some time. You know, I'm giving myself to the end of this year to make my official decision on what we're gonna do with the Kei-Wagon, and if I really do decide to sell it, how I'm gonna do that. Because as you guys know, I explained in the last video and previous videos what's wrong with the car. There's a lot of things wrong with it. I don't know whether I should fix the car or certain things on the car, or if I should fix everything on the car and then sell it, or just sell it as is. But we have until March, or I should say like mid-February of next year, to actually do something about it, because the check-in, so the inspection on the car expires next year. So by that time, everything has to be repaired on the car. Otherwise, yeah, we're kind of screwed. So I'm deciding what to do in terms of timing, whether I should sell the car before that or actually do the check-in, fix everything on the car and then sell it. But yeah, that's pretty much the plan. I honestly think most of you would probably say that this is probably a really stupid car for me to buy, but hey, it's something that I've wanted for a long time and I completely forgot about it. So I think we should maybe try and go after one. If we can find one, that is. I've been looking online a little bit, but I know obviously they're limited, as the name states. But I think if we work hard enough, we search long enough, I honestly think we could possibly find one day. There's a few reasons to why I want that car specifically. Now, I think I told you guys a couple of things. First one is an 8.6 is the one sports car that I'm actually okay and willing to buy an automatic. The second reason I want that car is because, for those of you that don't know, a sports car in yellow is honestly like my soft spot. I don't know, they just stand out more to me. And the 8.6 in that sunshine yellow, I believe it's called, in my opinion, looks so nice. And I think also keeping it clean would be a lot easier than keeping a black car clean. As you know, the Kei-Wagon has quite a bit of noticeable markings on it, I guess you could call it. And yeah, it's kind of hard to work with cleaning supplies when it comes to a black car. So I think a lot of you probably know what I'm talking about if you also own a black car of any kind. So that's reason number 2. And then reason number 3, as you guys know, that specific 8.6, I believe, was only sold in Japan. And I'm like almost 100% sure. And with all the options on it, I forget what the model or the trim package is called, but it has a name. I'm not sure what it is off the top of my head. I'll look it up later and figure it out. But I do definitely want to try and go after the one that had all the options on it, including the nurse spec, all the front lip, the side skirts, everything like that on it. The last reason to why I really want to try and get my hands on the yellow 8.6 is because of the interior, actually. So some of you might not know that the regular 8.6, so any like base model that you could find, FRS, I guess, BRZ, I'm not really sure actually. They all came with like red interiors, I believe it is. So like the seats, sometimes the steering wheel, not always though. But the stitching for sure was definitely always in a red color. But the yellow version actually had yellow stitching, and I believe partially the steering wheel was yellow as well. I'm not really sure about that, but I know the stitching in the interior, all like the trim pieces and everything, were completely yellow. And I think it looks so much better than the actual base model of the 8.6 color, which was usually red. Those are all the reasons why I want to try and get one of those. We'll work our butt off this year. I think we could potentially make it happen. So I think, now I could be wrong about this. I know a lot of you will know way better than I do, but I think when a car roughly turns like 6-7 years old-ish, somewhere around that time, is when the value of a car starts to depress or deplete or whatever you call it. So because that car is it's a 2015, I believe it was only produced for 1 year. I think some of the later production of that car was pushed into 2016, but they're all initially 2015s. So I believe it's like what, 6 or 7 years now, something like that, somewhere around there. So I think within like the next 2 years or so is probably a good time to buy one of those, or to actually look for one and potentially buy one. So we'll see what we can do, but I'd love to hear you guys' opinions. I'm pretty sure most of you would say that this is a really stupid car for me to buy, or you'd be like, oh, come on, buy something more interesting than that. But it's something I've always wanted that I completely forgot about. Something more rare, I guess you could call it. I feel like it's more worth my money that way. So this is one car that I've had my interest in, but I never really prioritized on my list of cars that I wanted, just because I completely forgot about it. And I never knew how much I actually liked this car until I really did research about it, and told myself, you know what, this is it. This is the car we're gonna go after. We'll see, I don't know, but it's gonna do it. My arm's getting really tired now holding this camera in my hand, and we're getting close to the main road, so it's gonna get too loud. So we'll call it for here. Yeah, it was just kind of like a sneak peek video or something like that, I guess you call it. I don't really know what to call it, but yeah, you guys know what car that I'm potentially gonna try and get, and we'll see where we can go from here. So hope you guys enjoyed. For those of you that stuck around to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Now you guys know. Let me know how much you guys hate the idea of me buying this car, if I actually do, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.